Hi, it's Tom and Sandy Corrigan from Sanctuary Ranch, and we are doing our Facebook Live kind of early this morning. Let's tag me. Can you tag me over there?
I can.
So we're on Tom's phone. We got to figure out how to be on both of our phones at the same time. But today we want to talk about our body, and we want to talk specifically, hey Colleen, about nutrition, about, hey Mavis, about eating out,
Dave.
about social life. And so we just want to give you some tips that have really worked for us. Again, we want you to take the tips that we give you and other things that you research and find out what really works for you, because each of us are uniquely made and uniquely designed, and what works for Tom doesn't work for me as well. I mean, there's a lot of commonality and there's a lot of overlap, but we've just discovered things that Colleen's on the bike at the gym. Hey, Joe. Good for you, Colleen. We've just found things that work for us, and really to journal that and discover that. Okay,
So before you jump in, just a reminder, this is day 5 of our 30-day challenge. The challenge is to align yourself, your body, soul, and spirit in a more unique and precious way, so that you align your life with God's wonderful plan, and that you live in partnership with Him in a more abundant way, so that you can have a more abundant and powerful and fulfilled life.
So He designed us, for our bodies to live a really long time. If we look back in history, even biblically, people used to live hundreds and hundreds of years. And what I love about what access we have to God's Word and also science, I think science is discovering that by treating ourselves differently, we can actually double our predictive lifespan. So I often say I'm going to live to 150. And I know there are people out there that are in that genetics world that are talking about us living in a healthy way to 180. That's so only a third of my life would be over, which is kind of cool.
We would finally have the chance to outlive our mortgage.
But we have to get everybody around us healthy, or we have to start, as our friend Mark says, we have to start making a lot younger friends.
Because we're going to outlive everybody.
So, hey Cassandra. So we want to be able to help you be healthy too. So anyway, so I wanted to talk a little bit about this journey for me. And last year, so we moved to the ranch almost 2 years ago in November. And then last summer, I got to be honest, I put my summer clothes on and I just looked at myself and I was like, I do not look that great. I am not fit. I am not eating right. I'm eating junk. I'm drinking too much wine. Hey Kim, I'm just not taking care of myself. And we were putting this huge flagstone patio in. And so there were pieces that were 300 pounds and 4 of us working on that and the horses. And I was just exhausted. And I thought, it was like God just said to me, I can help you. And I was like, I need it. So I started getting really serious. And on the journey, I also landed on some videos suggested by a friend of mine, Dr. Eric Berg. And Dr. Berg's a chiropractor, and he has millions of viewers, and you might want to check out his stuff. Hey, Patsy.
He has hundreds of videos on YouTube.
Little short videos, and we follow a lot of what he says. We're not purely keto. We do many of the aspects of a fat-burning diet, which is really when you hear keto and people get real nervous, it's a fad. It's just whole foods, and it's foods that are fat-burning if done well.
And it was introduced in the 1920s.
Right, and we're talking about nutritional keto, not medical keto where you're under a doctor's care and you're really, really low calorie and all of that. But just nutritional keto, so foods that are more fat-burning than fat-making. And so along the journey, I would say to Tom, listen to this video, and both of us were like, how come nobody ever told us that? And along the way, I decided to actually sign up and become a health coach with his organization and go through his curriculum and his certification, because I wanted to help us I wanted to help me, wanted to help us, wanted to help my family. And then I thought, well, I have a lot of friends who have asked me questions over, the course in time about how did you lose almost 40 pounds and, how do you feel? And you look really happy and you look healthy and you look younger and all of that. And I started just helping people. And God bless you. And so along that course, I learned a lot about, the tweaks I needed to do nutritionally. And as I think back, I've always been interested because as a kid, I was thin and super active. And it wasn't until high school that I started feeling like, even though I was really active, like I was on track, I biked, I swam, I was a cheerleader, I was a gymnast. I was really busy, but I wasn't. I wasn't as thin as my friends, and it was kind of the Twiggy days, so there was some eating disorder stuff going on. But I'm just talking about, I had 10 pounds that I shouldn't have been carrying around. And hi, Mike. And so through the process, I realized that the foods I was eating created inflammation and created imbalance in my hormones and in my organs, and that's why I was carrying extra weight.
Right. Hi, Christine.
It wasn't just that I was eating too much. In fact, there were times where I'd work out like a crazy person and not eat very much and just stay the same. I didn't lose, I didn't gain, I just stayed the same. And so I began researching the way that our bodies are put together, the way that science helps us understand. And for me as a woman, I have the whole hormone factor. Men do to some extent too, but I had the whole hormone factor to consider, being in menopause and, just getting older as well. So we want to give you some tips today around things that have helped us and maybe some resources that you can read too. Hey, Christine.
So I want you to hold what I'm going to say intention, because I mean it in a very respectful way. But what we found in the last few years of interviewing our physicians, who we really appreciate and appreciate the depth of their training and education and their knowledge, and they've really helped us in some ways. And as we've asked them, how much nutritional training, how much training around the value of food and what we eat did you receive or have you received since? And it's incredibly minimal. Like 6 to 8 hours, maybe maximum, which puts them in a deficit to help us understand how to eat, what to eat, and even how to use food as medicine. And interestingly, each doctor takes a Hippocratic oath, and it states a number of things: do no harm. But Hippocrates was considered the father of medicine, and one of his most famous statements is, "Thy food shall be thy medicine."
And thy medicine shall be thy food.
Right. And so they've lost that, unfortunately. Now, there's a group of doctors, and a growing group of doctors, who identify themselves, many of them, as functional doctors. Dr. Hyman is the head of functional medicine at Cleveland Clinic. Thank God that they have had the foresight to open up a department. And he usually gets clients, according to him, after everybody else has given up. And they've seen amazing things happen in people who have been written off with cancer, with brain disorders, with emotional disorders, with autism, with diabetes, with all kinds of inflammation issues. And by changing their diets, along with other things, taking them off some of the medicines, that they've recovered and regained their full life. So we are constantly looking for more functional doctors. We've found 2 in the Denver area that we have really benefited from. But so this is why this might sound interesting or different or unique, in that we want to encourage you to think about what you're putting in your body beyond what you get from the pharmacy in order to heal your body and to correct dysfunction in your body and to bring healing.
Yeah, because really healthcare, and we're not going to get into complaining about healthcare. I mean, that's just, complaining is the worship language of hell. But healthcare really has become managed disease, right? And so we love that there are doctors and nutritionists and dietitians and scientists and people of faith out there that are saying, no, let's be proactive. And so that's what we're doing, and we're reading all the time, and we're listening, and we're trying things, and we're seeing what works and what doesn't, and interfacing with those professionals, both in the, a lot of these doctors have internal medicine degrees, or, some of them are heart surgeons, but then they also added the functional medicine piece. And so we're happy to share the resources so that you could read yourself and also look in your area and maybe find health professionals that are excited about being more proactive, because that's what we want to be able to do, is fight off aging, fight off disease, fight off illness. Hey, Sharon. So, by the way, I am drinking my breakfast. So one of the things that...
Out of a Christmas cup.
Because I love Christmas. It's abundant. So here you go. Abundance for you guys. Several years ago, I was seriously overweight, like almost 200 pounds. For me, that's a lot of weight. That's
not 200 pounds overweight.
No, but I was close to 200 pounds, and I'm 5'5". So I was carrying a lot of extra weight. And for every pound you carry on your joints, it's like 4 or 5 pounds. For every pound of weight, it's like 4 or 5 pounds on your joints. So my hips were hurting. I had plantar fasciitis. I was having trouble up and down with my knees. I felt like I looked really old for my age. And I went and saw a doctor who is retired now, but had started the Bariatric Society and was very concerned about people being able to nutritionally take off weight. And one of the couple things he said to me was, when are you hungry in the morning? And I said, I'm not hungry when I first get up, unless maybe I ate a lot of sugar the night before or carbs, and then I'll wake up hungry, because through the night I'm burning all that sugar and carbs set up an addiction for more of that. Hey, David. So he said, I want you to do this one thing first. I want you to eat when you're hungry. I don't want you to eat before you're hungry. So when do you get hungry? And I'm like, 11, 11:30, depending on what I'm doing, 12. He goes, then that's your breakfast. I'm like, really? I was taught like breakfast was the most important meal of the day, and I had to get up and I had to force myself to eat something right away. And he said, well, the first meal you eat, you can call breakfast, is important because you are giving your body calories. But what we've discovered is that our bodies really need at least 8, 12 is better, 16 hours is even best for our body to digest what it had from the day before. And you can go into, Dr. Hyman, Dr. Lee, Dr. Berg, you can go into these, you can listen to these guys talk about it. A lot of people call it intermittent fasting. So you're fasting from the time you go to bed. It's good
or the time you eat your last meal of the day.
Which should be 7. I mean, some people it's 8 o'clock. 6 or 7 is better before you go to bed. And then you don't eat for 8, 12, or even 16 hours, again. And that gives your whole system the chance to digest everything that's in there.
Now, why is that? What happens overnight?
Because overnight is when our body regenerates. It's when our body heals itself. And so if
it's using all that energy to digest your late night snack, you're actually redirecting your body's energy away from regeneration
and healing. And into having to burn that food and that sugar. So just try that this week. Try setting a time where you're going to be done eating. And if you eat a healthy meal, you're not going to be hungry. Like if you're not having sugar and a bunch of carbs, you're probably not even going to be hungry. If you are hungry, have a healthy fat, like a tablespoon of almond butter or peanut butter, if you're hungry before bed as you're adjusting to this. And then when you get up in the morning, see if you can't go a little later. Kind of push it maybe to 10 hours and then 12 hours. And what will happen is you end up eating maybe once or twice a day. And I know that some of you are out there going, oh, but that's, your body's going to shut down, and, it's not going to, it's going to go into starvation mode. And believe me, that does not happen. If you are eating healthy and you are eating longer between meals, your body's going to efficiently burn off the sugar, and then it's actually going to get into the fat stores. And most of us have a few fat stores that we can burn, right? I mean, if you don't, then eat. So I was talking about
but
my
eat
coffee.
well and don't
Yeah.
eat sugar.
So this is kind of my breakfast, and I wanted to tell you about this coffee. So I like coffee in the morning, and I like it creamy. And so I use a Keto Cafe, it's called. It's vanilla flavored, and it has grass-fed butter and coconut oil and medium chain triglycerides, so MCT oil, basically. So there are some calories in here. And so really, I'm having breakfast because I'm breaking the fast of my body, but I'm doing it in healthy fats for the most part. I do like to put a little heavy cream in here. So if I really wanted to stay not breaking the fast, I wouldn't add the heavy cream. And so those calories will sustain me, till later in the day until I eat something at lunchtime and then something at dinner. So primarily, I'm on 2 meals a day. Sometimes, if you count my coffee, it would be 3, I guess, because there are some calories in here. Sometimes I only do 1. And I want to encourage you to play around with listening to your body because God designed us to listen. Now, if you're eating a lot of sugar or you're eating a lot of bread and pasta and processed foods, you're going to be hungry all the time.
Because it's demanding. It just triggers all your systems to want more.
Yep.
In fact, that adage about a particular food brand that says you can't eat just one, well, it was engineered that way. Not only psychologically by telling us that, but by what's in the additives in the food. And so it is made to create an addiction. It's
as powerful as cocaine and heroin. I mean, the processed foods we eat that have natural flavorings or MSG, by the way, they can call natural flavorings, they can call MSG natural flavorings. And again, Dr. Hyman has great podcasts, and there's one about the big food industry. Go listen to it. I'll find it and post it on the Live Unshakable site, because our foods are engineered for us to not be able to stop eating them. And that is not a good thing because there's no nutrition in most of those foods either.
That's right. So just as a reminder for those of you who just jumped on, this is day 5 of our 30-day challenge. And the challenge is for you to identify one area that you want to work in. And we have provided you some free resources to move you forward, body, mind, and spirit during this challenge that we like to invest in you so that you can live a more full, functional, healthy life in the way you think, in the way you interact with God and other people, and the way you take care of the body that you're walking around in. And you can find those at our website at T30, so T30.liveunshakable.com. And I want to encourage you sometime today to go there and sign up for the challenge. And again, get those free resources, because we're going to continue to talk about various aspects of body, mind, and spirit, and give you information, encouragement, inspiration, so that we can create an army of people who are choosing to live differently and choosing to create a body and a mind that lives in great health.
In fact, one of those, hey, Eric Verdi from Virginia, one of those free resources is a really beautiful PDF that has foods to eat, and then what I call poison foods, like foods that you should just avoid eating at all costs. Yeah. Now, if you slip up and you have a piece of candy once in a while, or you have a dish of ice cream, it's not the end of the world, but here's what I promise you. If you will start eating the foods to eat, most of the time you aren't even going to want those foods to avoid. So you're going to be able to take away those cravings. In fact, healthy fats, like adding more healthy fats, things like olive oil, avocado oil, a handful of macadamia nuts, coconut oil, peanut butter, almond butter, cream cheese, those kind of things. And if you're non-dairy, then don't have the dairy ones, have the other healthy fats. You will find, I don't even care if I have a cookie. I don't even care if I have a beer. I don't even care if I have a piece of bread.
I can walk by the candy racks at the store where the Reese's cups are screaming my name and ignore them.
Although the other day Tom said, so I'm gonna I'm gonna buy one of those and
I'm gonna keep it
and reward yourself. I'm like, why don't you find yourself something different to reward yourself?
Well, I have. I think I want to buy a motorcycle accessory instead.
Okay, there, $700 instead of a candy bar. Anyway, yes, Christine, the website is t30.liveunshakable.com. So t30.liveunshakable.com, because we invite you on your own 30-day challenge. That's why we called it the T30 challenge. And we're doing a Facebook Live every day for 30 days ourselves. And it's challenging, like just getting on Facebook Live every day. I'm just like, okay, I'm not such a morning person. Throw on some makeup.
Hey,
You
Cassandra.
can see my green socks with the horses on and my cowboy boots. But let's get back to this food thing. And we want to talk a little bit about, like, in a given day, what to consider eating.
So the other day we had a meeting with our friend Joe Wood, who's become a great ally and partner. And he said, let's go out to eat breakfast. And I said, okay, well, we have
three or four restaurants.
Yeah, we
in
have
our
four
little-
restaurants in town, and two of them serve breakfast, and one was closed on Monday because that's what they do. So that left us one choice. And we went there, and we had awesome service, and the menu was just one page front and back, which makes things simpler because I don't like the whole
It
choice
wasn't overwhelming.
overload. And he looked at me and goes, oh, since I'm with you, I should probably eat well. I said, well, let's try an experiment. I said, let's look at everything on this side. And everything on this side was basically egg and meat, or egg and cheese, or egg and vegetables, or a combination of those. And I said, now flip it over. And on the other side was pancakes and a variety of French toast with caramel and all kinds of fun stuff. And what else was on there? A bunch of different kinds of gravy.
Biscuits and gravy.
And I said, I'm not trying to set you up. There's no right or wrong answer. Which side do you think you should order from?
And he said, I really love French toast.
And he goes,
Hey,
this
Randall.
is my French toast is my default.
Right.
And but he said, I'm going to order off the other side. So we did, and we ordered a wonderful egg, and I had smoked sausage scramble with vegetables in it, and they gave me some veggies on the side because I decided not to have the toast.
Or the potato. Well, you had a few potatoes.
I had a
didn't
little
have
bit of potatoes because I needed a little carbs. But so we got done, and I said, what do you think? He goes, that was delicious. He goes, I would have never, ever tried that because I'm just a French toast foodie. And I said, well, good choice for you, and well done. And I said, how does this affect your thinking? He goes, and I have more options when I go out to eat, and this was so good, and I know I did the right thing for my body. I think I'll try to make the shift. I said, good for you. I said, if you want to go have French toast occasionally, just know that you're setting yourself, you're going to have a sugar crash sometime in the next couple hours. I mean, it's inevitable because you're going to spike your sugar, spike your insulin, and then the body's going to back off, and you're going to go, oh, I'm tired, or I need to go eat some more sugar.
Yeah, in fact, and Mavis, I will call you after this and help you. We have been in a beta test with the t30.liveunshakable.com site, and so we have had 300 or 400 people just kind of, trying to break it. Hey, Debbie. So that we could find glitches. And so if you tried to sign up for free stuff and you had trouble, let us know. If you did the $7 upgrade and you had trouble, let us know, right? Because that's why we did a beta.
But I think it's all been debugged now.
Yeah, so if you're still having trouble, let us know so we can fix that. And again, we have free stuff and then a little $7 upgrade. And then later this week, we'll be launching our private Facebook community and coaching. So you can look for that. One of the things that was so interesting about Joe is Joe was an athlete. Like, he was a professional volleyball player, like super fit, and definitely 8-pack abs, not just 6-pack abs.
In his past.
Right? And so when we're younger, oftentimes we're like, we can eat anything because we're working out all the time, except me. I told you my story. That wasn't true for me.
I was thin. I've been thin all my life, tall and thin. And so that I just took that as a sign that I can eat anything.
And that you were healthy.
And I was healthy, and I did eat anything. And I knocked down a half a gallon ice cream in 2 nights, and not think anything of it. And
then taking reflux medicine and
right, and then paying the price over the last 25 years of having various maladies that I never put together with my diet because my doctors didn't. They just said your body's doing this, your body's doing that. So just because I was built thin didn't mean I didn't need to take care of myself. And I ended up with a whole bunch of inflammation in my limbs, lower back pain, and other joints, and which I've been relieved of for the most part now by changing our diet.
Your neck's not crunching all the time and you're hurting. So
and my doctor, by the way, when I went to see him about it a year ago, God bless him, he was a much younger man, and he said, "Tom, you're just getting old." And I said, "I'm going to find another doctor."
We're not taking that. So the other thing this nutritional doctor that I went to talked to me about is stop eating 6 to 8 small meals a day, right? That was another thing we were told, right? Because that keeps us, everything burning efficiently. Except what they didn't tell me was that spikes insulin. Every time you eat, you're going to spike insulin because insulin is the thing that helps process sugar in our blood. And so there is, you can Google it. I think we're creating it also, but you can Google the insulin index. So a lot of times people talk about the glycemic index of food, so the sugar index of food. Google the insulin index and look at foods that will spike insulin in a more dramatic way. Like look at apples, like it's incredible, or a banana, or a piece of bread, or a pasta. And educate yourself. You can, they're all over Google. There's all kinds of them. And print those off and keep those in front of you, because remember, insulin is that fat-making hormone. And so we want to get into the fat-burning hormones, and we'll do that down the line to talk to you about what are fat-making hormones and what are fat-burning hormones. And guys, I'm not just talking about women who have hormones.
That's right.
I'm talking about the hormones that our organs produce. So that's why eating less often and eating in a healthy way will also stop cravings, and you will find that you won't have to eat as much. And again, if you need something in between, your stomach's growling, or you're trying, like especially the first 3 days, the first week, for some people, even the first several weeks, you're like, I'm still craving sugar, I'm still craving carbs.
Well, guess what?
First of all,
how many years did you eat that way in order to get that way? So be realistic. Don't expect that you're going to have an overnight cure. There is none.
Right. But look at the labels. Look at what you're eating, right? Because you could be saying, well, I'm having, this healthy thing, I'm having this healthy mayonnaise, and then the ingredients are full of sugar. So you've got to look at what is in things.
So what's the shortcut to reading labels on food? What's the key things we got to be looking for?
Well, so we want to look at ingredients we actually understand what they are, right?
Yeah. So I have a rule of thumb. I pick up a product and there's stuff on there I can't pronounce, and I've got a pretty strong vocabulary. I say, no, this is not for me.
Or look it up. I mean, look it up and see what it is.
Well, there's now 27 different names for sugar. And some lists are like 60. So there's a whole bunch of ways for food industries to hide sugar. And I'm not sure why they feel it's necessary to do that if it's good for us.
Yeah.
But it's not good for us, so they do hide it.
But it makes us want to eat more of that stuff.
Right. It does.
So educate yourself,
yes.
Right? Look at labels, look up the names of things, because sometimes there are things in there where, like, I don't understand this more scientific name, and it's really okay for you.
But the bottom line for me is I want to look at what's the total sugar, right? And that's usually an indicator, because if I can find an alternative that doesn't have that much sugar, for instance, we went shopping the other day and just picked up a half a gallon of almond coconut milk, which I really like, and it works better for me than cow milk. And there was a wide variety, from very little sugar to added sugar, so that I'm getting a whole bunch of additional sugar per cup. So did it take me 2 extra minutes to read those labels? Yes. But it's going to pay off for me in the long run.
Right. So on your label, we can take a picture later and post it, but look at the total number of carbohydrates, look at the total number of sugars, and see what those foods, because remember, if you can try and avoid having any sugar in your diet, you're going to quit the cravings, you're going to eat less. And also things like honey, agave, maple syrup, all of those things, those are still sugar. That's why Googling that glycemic index, that insulin index, is going to help you. There are sugar alternatives. And you even have to be careful with those, because some of those sugar alcohols can still cause some people to have difficulty in taking off weight or reducing cravings. But things like monk fruit, which you can buy at Costco in big bags, and it tastes like sugar. It's sweeter than sugar, but you can bake with it, cook with it, put it in your coffee, put it in a drink, put it on your berries if you want a little more sweetening. Erythritol. And also stevia. Now stevia is great in drinks. It's more bitter when you bake with it, but sometimes combining things can help. So it's not like you can't ever have a sweet thing again. It's just learning how to make things differently. So a little bit of education, a little bit of training, a little bit of adventure and discovery, and then learning how much of those things you can have also. Like I can't have 12 keto cookies in a day. I'm not going to gain weight, and I'm not going to have a lot of cravings, but I don't need that much in terms of extra of those kind of ingredients.
So I want to suggest a little experiment. Next time you have to go to the grocery store, if you really want to eat well, stay away from all the middle aisles.
For the most part,
right? And go around the outside. And it's constructed that way in order to entice you to eat more. Shopping baskets now, compared to 20 years ago, are larger to entice you to buy more. It's pretty amazing. We all know pretty much that the stuff with the most sugars at the bottom of the bottom shelf, so that our kids always grab and go, "Mommy or Daddy, I need this." But pick an item that you're going to go, and you might find 2 options, you might find 30 options. Just take an extra few minutes and flip it over and read the ingredients.
Like even the no sugar added ketchup
has sugar
in it, right? A different name of sugar.
So unfortunately, it's not, the labels don't always tell us the truth. On the outside saying, no sugar added or healthy version. Well, that's open to interpretation, because there aren't any guidelines for those statements.
And you can make your own dressing. We love to throw vinegar and oil and olive oil and garlic and salt and pepper and some herbs and mustard, and shake it up, and it's a delicious dressing.
I'll be right back.
And also, you can even make your own mayonnaise. So you can make a lot of your own foods. One of the other things too is just calories do count. So sometimes people are like, if you're eating this way, you don't have to watch portions or calories. That's not true. That's not true for me. I actually use MyFitnessPal, which is a really cool app. There's a free version, MyFitnessPal. It's a food tracker, and a lot of foods are in there. In fact, it's got a cool little scanner on it. I think that's in the free version also. So you can take a label, and it's got the little scanner, so it takes a picture, and then it puts all of the nutritional ingredients right in your MyFitnessPal, and you can begin to track what foods you're eating and what nutritional value they have, and also something called your macros. So I want to talk about macros, because I thought macros was really kind of interesting. Macros are the quantities of energy, basically. I'm just going to really paraphrase it. So any scientists out there, don't take me to task on my, non-scientific paraphrasing of this. But basically, in a given day, I am trying to stay between 1,000 and 1,200 calories. And honestly, I can live on 800 to 1,000. I don't have a super high metabolism. I don't have a huge workout schedule. You may think that's too small for you. I'm just telling you, for me, I can maintain a really healthy lifestyle on that.
I have a really super high metabolism going all the time. My body just never stops moving. And But I need around 1,800, 1,900 calories a day to fuel my body and maintain my weight and maintain my energy level from 5:30 in the morning until 10 o'clock at night.
And Tom finds that he has to have like a little snack or something else. He has more blood sugar drop than I do.
But way less than I used to.
And I can eat more protein than you do. So this is about your discovery. So the MyFitnessPal actually has a little tab called macros. And what I do is, let's just take 1,000 because it's easier to do the math. So let's say I'm having 1,000 calories of food I'm choosing in a day. I'm going to choose the most calories, believe it or not, in healthy fats, because healthy fats help burn through quickly and get to fat making. They're really good for skin and hair and digestion and for my organs. And so I'm going to have about 75% of my calories in a day in healthy fats. Now that's things like grass-fed butter, olive oil, macadamia nuts, pecans, almonds, olives. So foods that have more healthy fats. And I'm leaning more to the plant-based kind of, olive oils and avocado oils and those kind of things and olives versus as much animal saturated fat, even though I don't have a problem consuming animal saturated fat and my blood works fine with it. So even on a cut of meat, I'm going to have a piece of a ribeye more than I'm going to have a filet because it has healthy fats. And I'm not going to have an 18-ounce ribeye because my portion size in a given day for protein ought to be 3 to 4 ounces twice a day max. So I'm going to take...
just put that in perspective.
It's like the palm of my hand.
Right. If you go out to eat.
Yeah, they're going to serve me a 12-ounce or a 6-ounce, and I'm going to try and cut it in half and take part of it home. Or maybe that's my protein for the whole day.
Hey, Annika.
So my macros are 75% healthy fats, and then about 20% protein and 5% carbs. Now, there are carbs in vegetables, but dark leafy greens and celery and, things like broccoli and cucumbers, again, you can Google calories of foods, glycemic index, macros of foods, and you can see what kind of energy those foods are providing for you. So I can have 7 to 10 cups of dark green leafy vegetables in a salad or throw some in a green drink and be able to get all of my vegetables in and still stay at or under 5% net carbs. And the way you get net carbs is total carbs minus fiber. So total carbs minus fiber gives you net carbs. So I'm trying to stay in that 5% of my calories.
So a food app really comes in handy because they've already measured all the carbs and fiber, and you just plug it in. You just choose what it is that you're eating.
And you can even choose restaurant foods. So this sounds complicated because
and you can also, it has a scanner on it. So
I talked about that when you're out.
Great. Thanks.
Disciplining our puppy because I think she was digging.
Yes, she was.
She loves digging, but it takes a while, guys. I'm like, it's not, because remember, like I am 63. For most of my life, I have had to learn how to eat differently than when I was brought up, or even when I wasn't paying attention. And I've been in this industry for a long time. I worked for Weight Watchers for 4 years. I have sought out nutritionists and doctors and read on my own for a long. This is not a new thing for me. I would say 45 years or more I've been looking at nutrition because I have always struggled with extra weight. And so I am very excited to help you learn some things that you can try on yourself to see what works or not. Another thing is water. Want to talk about water for a minute? We're told what? Drink 8 to 10 big glasses of water a day. And that's a myth. Drink when you're thirsty. It's good to have water.
Well, you should probably drink more than you are.
Yeah.
I was told when I first moved to Colorado, and because we're at a higher altitude here, we do.
We're more dehydrated.
Yeah, we are. In fact, they said about 60 to 80% of the whole population in the Denver area is probably dehydrated on any one day. So, but you have to gauge it for yourself, as Sandy was saying. And when you're thirsty, drink something. Drink water. Don't drink
soda.
And please stay away from Diet Coke and diet sodas because the stuff in there is the worst
Except I love Zevia. Zevia you can get all over the place, and it's sweetened with stevia.
How do you spell that?
Zevia, like Zevia. And so I finally can have a little bubbly soda kind of thing that's not going to hurt me. So the idea with water is drink water. And then also, don't drink so much water that you're actually flushing the sodium and the electrolytes out of your body. So if you are a big water drinker, make sure that you're adding electrolytes, and we can even post some of the products that we use, and we're not making money from any of these, at least at this point. So anything we're telling you about, we're just using because it's helped us. And Cassandra said, what about somebody who has a thyroid problem? Is it any different? Actually, the underlying cause of thyroid is usually gallbladder and pancreas, that combination. And Cassandra, I will send you a link.
And we're not doctors.
No, we're not doctors.
And we're not trying to give you medical advice.
No, but I will send you some links to videos. In fact, I'll post it on the Live Unshakable site so you can look at what the underlying cause of thyroid is, because I believe you will find, and I don't have a problem, but with all the testimonies of people in my health coaching group, that when you start getting your nutrition right, it's going to help you in those areas as well. And so I'll post some information on there that's actually going to help you, because there's underlying cause with hormone production behind thyroid.
In conjunction with that, and just as a reminder, we are a triune nature person. We have body, mind, spirit, body, soul, spirit, and our body is one unit. If you try to affect one aspect of it, you're affecting the whole thing. And so one of the amazing things that we've learned over these last couple of years is just how our internal organs do work together. And sometimes it freaks me out how quickly we're willing to take like somebody's gallbladder out, because there's a reason for it to be there. Now sometimes it's disease and it needs to be removed, but there's very few extra parts in our body. God had an incredible design and an intent for everything to be there. And once we learn how everything works together and which systems work together, and when you bring health to one, you're actually bringing health to more, then we can partner with that. And just by changing what we're doing and putting in our body each day, what we're exposing ourselves to, we live in the country, and a whole bunch of people out here use Roundup or the core chemicals in Roundup.
Of glyphosate.
Because they have 35, 50, 160, 2,500 acres. Unfortunately, this stuff is having long-term effects. It's wiping out honeybees. It's getting into our water source. And the longer we're exposed to chemicals, both in processed foods and the chemicals that we so easily use around our households, we're seeing an amazing increase in disease, amazing increase in mental disorders and emotional disorders. And again, I think it is your responsibility and my responsibility to take care of me and to take the time to investigate. And we want to expose you to those things that will be the most helpful. And then you got to do your own homework. And we hope that you'll post your findings about how this is affecting your life on the Live Unshakable site, so that other people can benefit as well.
And so it feels complicated, and it could feel overwhelming. So just start somewhere. Maybe it's like, gosh, I don't drink water at all, so I'm going to set a goal around that. Or, wow, I haven't really looked at the whole idea of adding healthy fats. I heard fat was bad in your diet, and fat and carbohydrate isn't a good combination, but healthy fats. For some of you, some carbohydrates, and when I say carbohydrates, remember, vegetables are carbohydrates, berries, which I have some berries in my diet, are carbohydrates, but I'm talking about pasta, breads, cookies, potatoes, starchy vegetables,
potato chips,
especially the processed foods. Maybe this week you say, all right, I'm not going to have potato chips, and I'm not going to have popcorn, and I'm not going to have pasta, but I will have a sweet potato. So that's a real nutritious whole food, good carbohydrate, and they're delicious roasted with some avocado oil or grass-fed butter and onions and roasted in the oven. So just look at starting somewhere. Just
make one change.
Set one goal and start to read. In fact, turn off bad television. There's just not much on there, but we won't get into that. But
No.
turn that off and listen to a video on nutrition or read something on nutrition and go to bed with a mindset and a mind full of partnering with God, because God wants you to be healed and he wants that partnership with you. I look and I go, I am praying for healing, and if it is supernatural, awesome. And I'm going to partner with God on the things that I know can help my own healing and my own life.
A friend of ours has coached us. Take a 1% change. If I can change something in my life 1% a day, and it's only 100 days till I've completed a significant change. So if you just start small and obtainable, and just think, what's my favorite go-to, snack or filler food that is highly processed, and make a change.
Yep.
Choose something else.
We, as I said last May, started on the journey, but it wasn't until after Christmas that I looked in my pantry and said, I've never really sat and read the labels of all these things. And I threw 12 garbage size bags of stuff out
of our freezer, refrigerator, and pantry.
Yeah, and Tom was like,
I came home and saw it all. I said, what
away.
are we doing? I said, we ought to donate this. And then we thought, oh, no.
No.
If it's not good for us, we're not going to give it to other people to eat either.
And so we don't typically bring it in the house. Yes, are there sometimes, things that we bring or that people bring that we have here, but for the most part, we're really vigilant about the sugar piece. And so look at that, like even just begin there and start reading labels and start looking sugar content. The other thing I want to mention is going out, because one thing about living out here is we have to do a lot more cooking. So we went to Costco yesterday and loaded up on a lot of things that we use for cooking and baking, and they have a lot of organic. I don't
know if you remember
foods.
Costco, but just an insider tip, they now have more organic products than Whole Foods.
And they aren't accepting anybody that uses foods with glyphosate, which is Roundup-based farming. So that's good. So they're serious about giving us healthy food. So we went there, and so we don't have a lot of restaurants in the area, so we do a lot more cooking and a lot more eating from home. But there are times we go out, and when you're in restaurants, you don't really know what you're getting. There's a lot of sugar, there's a lot of extra carbs and starch and things, so do your best. But one of my tips is I will sometimes eat before I go. So I'll eat something, which means that I don't show up starving and want the bread and all the stuff. And then oftentimes, because I'm not that hungry, I'll say, hey, want to split an appetizer, something healthy, or split a salad and an entree, and find that that portion is plenty. And if we do not want the same thing, then I'm already asking for the box. And I know these aren't new tips, but sometimes we have to just be reminded of some things we can do to be able to safeguard and protect and be more proactive about our own health.
We went out recently with friends, nice restaurant. We were celebrating actually our anniversary, and they presented us with the menu, and it automatically came with certain things, and then you could choose from this list of 6 other items, one of which was a salad, and some of the other selections were not were not good, and they had gravy on them. They had various sauces on them and stuff. So you just have to take a moment and go, wow, that looks really good, but I'm going to pay for that. My body's going to pay for that, and that's going to trigger stuff in my body that I don't want to deal with. And so it was a pretty simple choice. And I've had lots of conversations with people who said, "No, I'm addicted to sugar." So I know that.
We all are.
So your awareness and your actual proclamation of that is a good starting point. So that's your starting point. Do you want to be addicted? Do you want to be led around by the nose by that product? No. Or do you want to be an adult, mature person who says, I make choices for myself that lead to health?
Sometimes people say, so you never eat fast food, right? And I don't eat a lot of fast food, but sometimes if that's all there is, there are choices there. There are salads there. There are a cheeseburger without the bun. Is it the healthiest? No.
No, you go
but is it better than just blowing it and going, I'm having the double quarter pounder with cheese and fries and having an ice cream for dessert? Like, you can still make good choices, even in a not great situation.
Yeah, some of those places offer grilled chicken instead of fried. So again, it's just a choice. It's just a decision that you can make for yourself.
And we want to make it easier. So that's why we're doing this challenge. We invite you on the 30-day challenge with us. This is day 5. You can go back on Tom's Facebook and it's on mine too, because it's tagged on mine, and also on Live Unshakable, and look at the past discussions that we've had. But we want to invite you to challenge yourself for 30 days in the areas of body, soul, and spirit, to up your game, to set some goals, to feel better, to be encouraged, to have hope, to know that you're doing it with us, because we're challenging ourselves. In fact, I stepped on the scale this morning and lost 2 pounds. Hey, high five.
Well done.
And
by the way,
I did it with healthy foods. I even had some keto chocolate chip cookies last night.
And they are delicious. We'll get to that some other time. If you're just joining us, go to t30.liveunshakable.com. It's t30.liveunshakable.com. And join our 30-day challenge there. It's we have free resources to encourage you. There is an important aspect that we got into yesterday of choosing a goal. Because you can say, okay, I want to do this, but without a goal, you won't go anywhere. And there's 3 aspects of a goal. Number 1 is getting it out of your head and getting it on paper. Write it down. If you really want to up your game, share it with at least one other person. You want to go like the superstar, go public.
And get a group to do it with.
That's right.
Or one other person.
Post it on our Facebook page.
Or post it on your Facebook page and
say, I'm going to do X
people over
the next 30 days, because that triggers an emotional response from us to know that, okay, I want to be a person of my word. I want to achieve this. I'm not going to make this life or death. This is not about winning or failure. This is about achieving something that's important to me, and making a change that's going to add life, to me.
And we know that 75% of all Americans right now, so I'm just using the stat for America, are overweight. And they are at risk for type 2 diabetes, which can be totally reversed with nutrition.
And heart disease.
So my guess is that some of you watching have a few extra pounds to take off. But even if you don't have pounds to take off, we want to help you sleep better, feel better, have more energy, have more adventure and excitement and happiness in your life. And food is medicine, and it plays a huge part in that. And so that's why today is our body day, right? We're going to talk about mindset and soul. We're going to talk about our spiritual life and partnering with God around all of this. There's just so much around nutrition and our body and our food to share with you. We're not going to be able to share it all on a Facebook Live, so that's why join the Live Unshakable page. Go to t30.shakable.com. Get the free stuff. There's also a 7-day upgrade that gives you quick, efficient exercise, 21 recipes, and some affirmations, recorded affirmations that you can get in that upgrade as well.
To encourage you in this challenge.
So we want your feedback. We want your questions. If something isn't working for you, we want to know that. If you have a question about, you can private message us. We want to be available to you to be able to help you and encourage you. And it helps us too. I mean, like, I woke up this morning and I was kind of like in a, I don't know, sort of low place, just, I don't know what I was thinking, that's in my soul place, wasn't as energetic. I'm working through some stuff with our horses and, and family and stuff like that. And so I found myself kind of feeling burdened. And so I walked out in the sunshine to the pasture. I didn't pick up my phone. I didn't get coffee right away. I just went outside and I just prayed on the way, and I reminded myself about the promises of God, and fed my horses, and they were doing well. Came in, weighed myself, had a little victory, down 2 pounds. My goal is to shed this last 20. And on the way back up, I just thought about all the things I'm thankful and grateful for, to switch my state. And then I also thought about my food today, because when I'm in that more depressed, I wasn't really depressed, but lower state, then food can sometimes be the place I go for comfort, and it is not usually a salad, or a nice piece of celery. And so on the way back up here, as I thought to myself, I am grateful. Here's what I'm grateful for. Hey, Brian, grateful for all of you guys that you're willing to step into this and watch and do this with us. It's very encouraging. We want to know your comments. That really encourages us to keep going. I thought about, hey, here's how I'm planning out my day. I have some eggs this morning for protein, probably about 11 o'clock or 11:30. And we've got some great stuff we bought yesterday. And I'm really going to be intentional about my body, because I can already tell something's going on in my thoughts and my emotions. And I want my body to partner in a significant way to change my own state and my own joy and happiness.
So let's recap today. We talked about food as medicine. We talked about taking responsibility for our life, our body, our soul, and our spirit. We're not being led around by advertising, not being led around by food addictions, not being led around by negative emotions. That we are taking responsibility for the way we think, the way we act, and what we do with ourselves. We talked a little bit about how to think about reading menus when you go out, how to choose food, and just take an extra minute and look at what are the ingredients in the things that we're buying, and to partner with us in the 30-day challenge to become a more healthy, fulfilled, vibrant, and alive self. And you can find that again at t30.liveunshakable.com.
And I'll post resources on the Live Unshakable Facebook page that you can join. We want to feed people healthy food as part of our mission in doing this. We want to create a movement of 1 million people that are proactively concerned about health through body, soul, and spirit. Hey, Lem from New York. Will you invite one other person to join us? To join us in our movement to be healthier. We're going to impact generations to come, our generation and generations to come through what we're doing, and we want to take you along with us. And you guys are influencers in the places that you live, in the families that you're part of, in the communities, in the workplaces that you're at. You are influencers. Hey, Debbie, are you still in Hawaii, the land of paradise and spam? Don't eat that. If you have to, though, it is some protein. But we just want to invite you to invite one other person to come along on the movement as we impact 1 million people to be transformed and healthier. And
this is not something we're doing. It's something we've been inspired by Father God to do, to come into relationship with Him in a deeper and more consistent way, and to come into agreement with His plan and purpose for your life. And He has given you a body that should carry you in health all the days of your life, however many those are. And I don't want to have a body that's broken down that I got to kind of drag across the finish line. I don't think you do either. And so even if you're struggling today with disorders, whatever they are, emotional, physical, mental, we just want to tell you that God's got a plan for a better, healthier life for you. We want to come alongside you. We want to cheer you on. We want to create a supportive environment and a supportive community that you can be part of, where we're all, rooting for one another, because this isn't a competition. If I win, you win, and vice versa. If you gain some knowledge to help me, then woo-hoo, we all win. So,
we just bless you today with God's goodness, and for you to just feel that goodness all day long, to be inspired by that goodness, to think, to see that your thoughts are being rearranged to think good thoughts. God makes things easy. And that's really how I started on the journey is God said, I can help you. And so I believe that we're doing this because He inspired us to tell you that He can help you, and we get to do it together. So we just bless you with every good thing, every solution to your problem, every witty invention and great idea, that you would feel just blessed today and that you would really feel God's presence today.
Amen, amen.
Have an awesome day. We'll see you tomorrow.
See you again. Thank you.